Well, Jeff, as you know, our field reporter Lewis has been out and about. I heard he caught wind of something charming happening at the historic Chubb House. Tea parties.
Oh yeah, the tea parties are amazing. I've taken my girls.
Yeah, Addie and I have gone to, and it was really cute.
They have a blast, and always such history and just really good conversations.
Yes. You have a flyer with information about it, don't you?
Yeah, Lewis gave me one. Join us on Saturday, May 3rd for coffee or tea and an assortment of sweet and savory treats. Come and go from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. A $15 suggested donation will support ongoing updates at the Chubb House.
Really cool. If you haven't gone, you should check it out. I think it's a great thing for kids almost of all ages.
Yeah.
When I took Addie, she was 5 and she loved it.
Yeah, the girls just, they look at everything, they see all of it, they just have such a blast. And I wouldn't say even just girls, like families in general.
Yeah.
It's just an amazing place, an amazing house, and the amazing people that put it on.
Yeah, definitely. So our mission here at Imagine Martin is to share stories about those inspired to create. And I think the Chubb House fits in perfectly. They embody that with their creativity and their historical preservation.
Let's go into our special segment and check out the Chubb House.
Hi, Jeff and Al. I'm Sandy Hallstrom, and I'm here with Ginny Riedesel, who is dressed as Sarah Chubb this morning. We're just having a cup of coffee.
At the Chubb House.
At the Chubb House.
And the Chubb House, we figured, is over 150 years old. So it stood up pretty well, in spite of having people tell them that there was too much lime in the soil. But they disproved that. We left a piece when we rebuilt or tried to pep up the house, where you could see what the old bricks look like several places around. So that's kind of interesting too.
We're honored to have preserved this beautiful home. It's the oldest brick home in Martin, Faribault, and Watonwan counties. And originally the Martin County owned this home, and they were going to tear it down for a parking lot. And we thought this house was too valuable regarding history to tear it down, and so Martin County Preservation came on to restore it. And they purchased it for $35,000. And so we're just happy to preserve the history of the Chubbs. So Ginny, you were mentioning the attire you're wearing.
Oh, yes.
It was like your grandmother's, and I know it's really not nice to ask a person's age.
Oh.
But once you get to be a certain age, you're proud
of it. Yes.
So,
well, you wanting to know my age?
Yes.
Yes. Well, I will be 100 in next September, so I figure that's worth crowing about a little bit.
I would say.
I hope I make it, And no, these were my grandmother's clothes, actually, and she wore them. In fact, I've got pictures of her in them. And ladies always had to have a shawl of one kind or another. And of course, that was their coats. They didn't wear coats in those days. I always wondered how they kept warm. Anyway, and this is her cameo. Every woman of substance had to have a cameo.
Yes, we see that Sarah Chubb had one in our picture.
And I don't look much like her, but I can feel how she felt when, in circumstances, coming to a new town with, not knowing anybody, and it must have been quite lonesome. But she was so glad, she was thrilled to death to have a house with windows because, this was pretty luxurious for those days. And Dr. Chubb must have been, like I said, a rich man because he bought quite a bit of property down along Woodland Avenue, and they used a lot of that wood for building things. He ran a newspaper. Did I mention that?
Yes.
And
and several other enterprises.
He was a surveyor. If you don't like that corner up there, that is it 3-way, 4-way, whatever it is. It's now we have got it designated as it's Chubb Park.
Yes.
And it's just, quite a little corner there. So you can blame him if you don't like that corner.
We're sitting in the largest room
Yes.
of the house, and you've just mentioned the windows and how they're shaped to bring the light in, but we have a few artifacts in this room.
Well, we've tried everything that we've brought in. We've tried to make authentically the correct would have been. Now, for instance, our stove over there is it isn't a working stove. Could be, I guess, but it's not. But it's period, and it's just right. And we've tried the things we put around. We've all tried to make in the right era, so they would be right. It's kind of like a little museum, where you go back and oh yeah, that's why you used to do things, and that's what they used to wear. And we added the sunroom because we needed another. Well, not we, but they needed more room at that time, and eventually this place was used as a tavern, as a bed and breakfast, because there was only one in town, and so they had to have a few beds and a few things available, and it would all have been in their time period, because people didn't have cars, and as they traveled through, they would get caught in storms, or Dr. Chubb would take his buggy and horse and buggy out and get caught at some farmhouse where he had to stay. And so the women had to be very able to take care of themselves. Mm-hmm. And the food, I'm sure, was, you couldn't just run over to the grocery store if you ran out of bread or something. You'd have to make it yourself or do without or substitute. And I'm sure it was quite a challenge cooking. And then people would drop in. But I guess I started to tell you about the sunroom, which we love that little room there. And it was wallpapered. And it was it was getting really bad looking and faded. So we wanted to take it off and put in fresh, new wallpaper. And you were the major one, I think, Sandy, that had we couldn't get it off. We tried and used steam and all the other tricks that they do, and could not get some of it off. So it was your idea.
Well, I really would like to take credit for that, but I can't. That was before I came on. But because they couldn't get the paper off, they put a frame around it, so it looks like a picture.
Put a frame around the old wallpaper so we'd know what it was, and we left it right there, and you can see on the wall. And the new wallpaper that we chose is very much like the old. Actually has the same little lady in it feeding her chickens, and quite interesting.
It's pretty. It's a green and white toile.
And it's so sunny and bright in there that we like that room.
There's a room here, Ginny.
Yes.
And I'm wondering what that would have been used for.
Well, we don't know. That's the thing. This was the living room, where they probably spent most of their time, or the kitchen. But it would have been great for a nursery. Mm-hmm. Or if Dr. Chubb had patients that came to the house, he probably took them in there, and if they'd have a little privacy.
I wonder if it would have been maybe used for surgery.
Well, I don't know if he did surgery, but he did whatever was needed at the time. And I'm sure it was, I don't know. If somebody knows, I wish they'd tell us, because we'd like to know. Mm-hmm. And of course the kitchen was probably the busiest room. And it has lots of old things that we've gathered that are fun that they've used in those.
Where did the cook stove come from?
Well, we found it advertised in a Minneapolis paper, and somebody just caught their eye and said, "Well, that's what we've been looking for." And so they contacted the people that were selling it, and it's just perfect. And it's so exactly what they would have used. And our men that work here were able to electrify enough of it so that we can use some of the burners. And we make applesauce from our tree in the backyard and do different things. We can cook, just, you wouldn't do a whole meal or something, but when we have our stew dinners in the fall, we always make fresh applesauce, and it's so good. And make it on our stove with whatever smells better than apples cooking.
And we also have kerosene lanterns in there that we used for our stew dinners too.
Because there was no electricity. That's been added in the later years. So when we have our dinners, and anything in the evening, you have to have light. And so we got a lot of pretty kerosene lamps that we use. And people have donated beautiful dishes that are the right era. And please don't give us any more. We don't have any more room. And we try to dress as old-fashioned as we can. And it's just a fun evening for that particular thing. But we have done, you name it, we've done it for fundraisers because we not only had to pay off that huge sum to buy this place, but now we've had taxes. And they've done street improvements where we've had to raise $5,000 and it's not that big a lot, really. But it goes way back to the lake, so that it's just a beautiful spot. Sarah picked the spot.
Yeah. What can you tell us about the fireplace room?
Well, it was added on later. And the fireplace has made it much more cheery and nice back there. And we've found things that you'd be surprised when you look around. Old houses that are being demolished, like the curtains and the windows in that back room are from an old farmhouse that belonged to Virginia Peterson's family, where she used to live, and she was so thrilled when we looked at her window and said, "Could we have those?" And so we carefully transferred everything, and then they demolished the house. So, see, that was a lot of memories for her. And we have had so many people come here and work and pretend like they were the Chubbs and what would they have done. And so everything in the house, we've tried. The old chairs are redone. You've done a lot of those, Sandy. You're good at refurbishing things. And
beyond the fireplace room is our tiny little kitchen.
Yes, and that's because we had to have something modern with water and a sink we could wash dishes and our hands. And there was no water available originally. They probably had a well.
It's hard to believe that we could have fed so many people here for our stew dinners from that, and for our teas from that tiny little kitchen.
And it's so popular, and people keep saying, "When are you going to have your spring tea?" Oh, well, I don't know.
And that's coming up, May 3rd.
All getting too old to do those things anymore, so it's pretty hard, but May 3rd?
May 3rd.
Oh, okay.
May 3rd.
So,
would you like to tell about our stair steps and the rooms upstairs?
Well, you go ahead.
We have a very narrow, steep stairway, but we do have railings on each side, so it's safe. But we have some very interesting rooms upstairs. The first room we call Lydia's room, don't we?
Yes.
And why is that?
Well, because we've got Lydia up there. We have a mannequin that we've dressed appropriately, and I think she's minus hands or something, but she doesn't mind. And and we've got an old bed and an old bedspread. Actually, that bedspread is a crocheted one that my grandmother made. And after she became blind, she made 6 bedspreads, if you can believe that, for her grandchildren. And that's the one that I inherited, and it's just awful. It's heavy and it's uncomfortable. And I said, I think this needs to go to the Chubb House and sit on the bed. And it's perfectly appropriate for the era. And so, each blanket that we've acquired and different dressers and things are...
I noticed that Sarah's tiny shoes are sitting... she's taken her shoes off. I can imagine why with those tiny little shoes that her feet must have been hurting.
Oh, I bet.
So they're sitting under the bustle chair.
And somebody had an old fur coat that was, I think we finally threw out, didn't we?
Probably.
It was just awful.
But on the bustle chair also are a couple of bustles.
Oh, yes.
And the bustle chair was designed for women. There's no back on it, so
you could wear your bustle.
Sit on there comfortably.
Yes. Oh, and you imagine everything they went through with all the corsets and things they had to wear in those days.
And then there's also an old trunk in that room.
Yes.
And a doctor's bag. I don't think it was Dr. Chubb's.
No, it was my husband. No, but it's old. But we had to have a few artifacts from... And there's a wonderful cupboard in here that's a built-in cupboard where they probably kept dishes and things. But and she got a lot of spices that are in little... I hope you could show that sometime. We think that's where Sarah put her cinnamon and or Dr. Chubb may have put his medicines in there. We don't know. See, these are things we'd love to know.
There's another bedroom up there too, where we have. Why don't you tell us about some of the things?
There's a child's bedroom, for one thing, and the bed in it is very authentic because I slept in it as a child, and my parents did too. So it's really old. It's iron, and you pull up the side. It goes up and down. When you put your child to bed, you pull up the side of the bed so they don't fall out. My brother learned to climb over it right away, so that was a funny story about him. But anyway, so let's see. And we've got a little potty chair that would have been the era. And we've got a lot of costume, a lot of baby clothes that are beautiful. And that somebody has saved over the years.
There's a high chair in there,
a high chair,
a rocking chair, and then some balls of cotton rags for scatter rugs.
Yes, and all of the rugs that you find in the house we made of old materials. That was one of our projects. One year we did braided rugs. And they're all over the house. There are some.
Well, Ginny, it's been such fun reminiscing about
the
Chubb House and the restoration and Dr. Chubb and his family. But, we have ongoing events here, too.
Yes, all the time there's something going on. And you bear in mind that anybody can come here and have a luncheon or play bridge in the afternoon or, And we've had a lot of... receptions. We've had people come at the high school graduation parties here. And because it's nice in the summertime and our backyard is really pretty.
And actually, we're having a tea coming up.
And it's May?
On May 3rd, and we have all these cups and saucers that we use.
So beautiful, Sandy.
And the ladies bring in such wonderful, fancy little sandwiches and cookies and bars, and we're bursting at the seams on those days.
And
People
that's-
come early and stand in line to
Get till we open the door.
yes, when we open the door, and it's just a fun day, and ladies look forward to this every year.
And if they want to wear their spring hats, that's fun
Oh,
too.
we would love that. We would love that.
Yes, and it's just fun that they're beginning to have more little girls that come with their moms, and so it's all ages like to have tea.
Yeah. Well, it's been great reminiscing with you today,
Yes,
Ginny.
yes.
And, we'll go back to Al and Jeff now.
Okay.
Wow, that was really cool to see. Sandy and Ginny did such a great job.
They sure did. It's just an amazing story, and what amazing ladies that are helping with the Chubb
Yeah,
House.
Ginny is, I mean, she's rocking it for 99. So cute. I loved it.
Yeah.